We're here at M&R. We're here to talk about shops and that's what this new segment's called, Shop and We're going to talk about chap lips, higher and lower chap lips. So you guys introduce yourselves, what you do, where you came from, where you want to be.
My name is JD. I'm the CEO of Wallflower Merch and currently based in Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm Charlie, Director of Operations for Wallflower Merch, based in Delray Beach.
Nice.
So why the two different locations? Yeah, why Kansas City and then Delray?
Redundancy. Yep. Trying to not have two Polarises in one place. We're in South Florida originally, and we have hurricanes there, which seem to be happening more and more often. So kind of better to have one somewhere else. And also we do a lot of shipping, so being able to have closer.
Yeah, and so
Being able to have logistically be in the center of the country, a little bit better.
is the real reason the Chiefs?
It's part of it. We're on a dynasty run right now. We'll find out this Sunday if it's a real Patriots level dynasty or not. We'll see.
Yeah, you're just in it for Taylor Swift's husband, right?
Yes.
Husband. Whoa.
Well, whatever. I don't
Close
know.
enough. I don't know. I still believe it's all staged. Even
Yeah, I believe so. Like,
been the
look
longest-
how much money he's
Yeah.
made from this.
yeah, it's
And-
crazy.
Yeah. Let's just talk about Taylor Swift for the rest of the time. Is that
Yeah.
cool?
She was in my building. My condo in KC has a rooftop bar, and I go to bed one night at 9:00, and I see like a neighbor the next morning. And he's like, yo, they blocked off the whole block and brought in Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Mahomes, the whole gang. It was like Travis Kelce's birthday or something, and shut down the rooftop bar and brought them all up there. It was like
Nice.
11, and I was one floor beneath them, just peacefully asleep.
I have a funny and sad Taylor Swift story if you want to hear it. When I first started 17 years ago, in my first company, I was a button company. I made buttons, but I outsourced t-shirts and stickers. And Taylor Swift hit me up back then to order buttons and shirts and whatever. And you know how, like, when you're a single business owner and you're doing everything by yourself and you're outsourcing, there's those couple orders every so often that sit in your inbox and you don't get back to and fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Wow.
So,
That
yeah,
sucks.
I'm regretting that a little bit, but you never know.
That's brutal.
It's like Apple stock, like you don't invest.
It's like Trump coin.
This is so bad. this mic stuff. All right, so we were talking earlier, and you said something that was really interesting. And so you had a Polaris, and you had digital work, and then it grew and grew, and your screen printing work went reduced more and more and more. So much so that you are completely getting rid of screen printing now and only going digital. And so what influenced that decision, obviously besides work, and then what's your plan on if you get screen printing work, what are you going to do about that?
Here you go.
I mean, I think it's just we believe in the technology. We've run it now for multiple years, and it continues to advance and improve, and it's a much more desirable operation. I've been in the screen printing industry for 20 years, so obviously I have a lot of respect for it. But the chemicals, the ink, everything is it's tough to manage. It's a lot of steps, a lot of touch points, and with the advancements in digital, it's just a much cleaner operation. It's a lot simpler, a lot more flexible. So yeah. So and as far as jobs that make sense for screen printing, we've got obviously plenty of opportunities to find people to outsource to, and that's what we intend on doing.
I think with any of the digital stuff, it's one of those questions where, when does it match the expectation of screen printing and quality, and for these bands and for these other companies that you're dealing with, are you finding that you're getting new markets that don't necessarily care as much, or you think the quality of the Polaris is on par where people can't tell the difference, or you're like, this stuff that I used to do sim process now is the Polaris is blowing that out of the water? Like, what's the case?
Yeah, the story I always tell is we have a client that's a big band, an arena touring band, and the lead singer is, like most lead singers, a nightmare to work with, and he would want to see screen print samples of everything, and we he can't tell the difference between. We send him Polaris samples
Right.
now.
Well, that's the ideal
and
situation.
yeah, he doesn't know. We originally sent him samples on our Epsons, and he was like, "Never send me this again." Literally wrote back, "Never send me this again."
Yeah.
And
In fact, he called us incompetent.
he's a nice guy.
Right.
But yeah, we sent him Polaris samples just to see if we were going to be called incompetent again, and he was like, "This is amazing." So that's when we knew, and we've been in screen printing our whole careers, and once you feel the Polaris prints, you know that you're pretty close.
Yeah. With those
there.
kind of people, real quick though, are you still doing more of a screen printed look as far as in the art department when it goes to the Polaris, or are you just like kind of more of a, hey, we don't really have to mess with it now, we can just print and go?
For the most part, I mean, it's rare that we need to make any adjustments. It's if we need to, we know we can dive into color profiling and there's a whole nother layer that can be tapped into that fortunately we don't have to, given our client base. But yeah, I mean, it's
I think the part of that though too is it's like back in the day, because we were talking to a Tennessee, like a Nashville print shop, and when I think of Nashville and I think of the kind of shirts that were done there, it was the Garth Brooks and all these other people where every shirt was literally a picture of their face. Like it was like that was the style. And then you had to have like masterminds like Andy Anderson, like creating that and coming up with methods to make this happen. And now you guys are like, oh, cool, Garth Brooks, bleep, blarp, bloop. And you're like, print the shirt.
That's it.
And that's
Simple
fucking
as that.
blows my mind.
The art preparation is nothing.
Right.
It's a minute of someone's time, which I think there's the future holds automation there too. So
Right.
it's
So that's what I'm
come a
saying,
long
as
way.
far as like the artists back then, that was what they wanted. That's what sold, was these beautiful screen prints of their face. And now it's like you said, you get more of a picky artist. Now it's not as much of a challenge where you can do it on scale and you can achieve that quality they're looking for, even better than a screen print in most cases, because you don't have all the halftones, you don't have yellowing of a face or any
Exactly.
issues like that. So it's pretty sweet. Let me handle it for you.
But
For those who don't know, you said you support a tour, and you're supporting tours with the Polaris, and so that's volume. Can you share what kind of volume you can output off of a Polaris? Because so a lot of people are like, it's sort of like a DTG. Like, what are you doing, 100 a day? I mean, how fast is it? What does it do for you?
Yeah, I mean, it legitimately, this is no sell. It's with basic cotton T-shirts, we print 200 unique prints an hour. With fleece, it's around 178 units an hour, and that's three peak seasons of seeing that output steadily. And that's real. So obviously,
Did you say 178?
yes.
So that's more of an accurate number. You're not saying like
No,
180. You're
it's
saying 178.
178.
178.3.
It's 178 on the nose. No, it is. It's that's our fleece recipe. That's exactly what it runs at. And so, the only caveat to that is you can actually increase your speed if it's a smaller design, right? So if it's like a left chest, it's going to run faster. But your worst case scenario is going to be 178, on our fleece. 200 for T-shirts. So.
Are you having any challenges with garments and sourcing those for that machine, or is it anything goes?
Most anything can go, and I think some of the new developments, the most recent developments that M&R has I guess brought to market, their S4 pre-treater is definitely groundbreaking and will essentially make it anything goes.
Yeah.
But
Keep going.
it's the truth. So, are we there yet? No. It takes R&D, but yes, I can make a bi-blend work.
I just
can make
mean
a
as far as
tri-blend.
like you're saying you're kind of cutting out screen printing where you could kind of do almost anything with different inks and printing techniques and whatever. With the digital, you just are more pigeonholed into certain garments, but you're saying you can do pretty much anything.
Yes, again with R&D, right? So our business is more volume of designs versus volume of one design, right? So So we really try to keep it as cookie cutter as possible to reduce the amount of R&D, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And like I said, with some of the newer technologies that are coming out, it's going to widen our offering with zero R&D.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what else are you guys into? What else are you looking to incorporate or bring in? It doesn't have to be Polaris, and just anything in general.
I mean, to jump back to the Polaris real quick, I think for us, it's, Tour, mentioned Tour. Tour is not something that we're really focused on. We're definitely more focused on the e-commerce side. And I think with the Polaris, it's when you are selling a high volume, say during Q4 holiday season, and you're selling hundreds, if not thousands of different t-shirt designs, and they're flowing into our system.
That are all one-offs.
That are all a different shirt. I mean,
Variable
some shirts,
data.
yeah, it's all over the place. You're watching that flow into our shop. You're watching barcodes come out. Pickers pick the shirt, put them on it. Carts going down with 400 different style shirts on the cart.
Yeah.
Go through the Polaris, come out the dryer, go over, be scanned and shipped all in one motion. It's like when you've done stuff like we've done years back to where you're filling an entire warehouse full of random designs and running around and grabbing them.
Right.
When you watch that fluid motion through it, it's like that's when you've realized that this is something a little bit different. So that's
awesome.
For sure there's limitations. Tour is never most likely not going to make sense at a large scale right now on the Polaris. But
are you finding that the one-off market for you is a lot more profitable than the bulk stuff?
It's just two different games, but the idea that there's going to be less e-commerce sales in the future feels like kind of the wrong idea. If you're a betting man, it's like, is e-commerce going down and big box retail is getting stronger, or vice versa? It's like no one leaves home anymore. No one leaves their computer screen. So for us, it's a little bit of a bet situation. It's like we're not saying the other side's wrong, but for us, everyone kind of needs a niche. And for us, we're kind of on the e-commerce side.
Just to add to that, I mean, I think everyone would agree that inventory is not something that a company desires, right? It's that's cash tied up.
Lots of warehouse space.
Right. It's overhead, it's cash, and so again, the service that we provide, this new technologies that are coming out, I mean, allows people for really riskless, inventoryless, opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you sell one shirt of a design or 1,000. It's just going to come into our system. We print it, done.
Hell yeah. So you guys are trying to kind of grow both, locations, or is it more stronger in one area to do the other? Because it seems like logistics is the biggest advantage you have with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the dream situation is a Polaris in Florida, a Polaris in the Midwest, in Kansas City, and a Polaris on the West Coast.
Right.
Just for shipping.
For ship time. Kansas City's kind of a cheat because you're going 2 to 3 days east and west. But in a perfect world, our system tells us which shop the shirt should come out of whenever it's ordered.
Yeah. Well, we are in M&R. Do you guys have any fun M&R stories? I know, Charlie, we've done M&R stuff together before, but I think we're all very strongly into it. Do you have any stories why M&R is meaningful to you guys, not just the one you picked?
For me, it's just always been the color. I always wanted the first big blue dryer. It was like, to me, when I saw my first legit screen printing shop had big blue dryers in it, I was like, I had like
even other
had.
color shops have big blue dryers in it.
Even what?
A lot of other brands that have presses have the blue dryer in it.
Yeah.
Because it's the best one.
It's iconic. Yeah. And I mean, that was my first dryer was like a little Vastex, maybe? Do they make dryers?
Yeah.
Had a little Vast. I saw them over there.
They have the little chambers you can keep adding.
A little dryer, and I went to my first like real screen printing shop at like 21 years old. Saw like multiple big blue dryers, and like wasn't even looking at the challengers. Like just was thinking about the big blue dryer. Laying in bed that night, and I was like, man, once you have that kind of belt space, anything's possible. So,
going to bed at night, be like, God, that belt
man.
Space.
Yeah. So that was for me. That was now us having a few is like, man, I made it. I don't even think about the Polaris. I just think about that
you have that dryer.
Thinking about those 3 dryers.
Yeah, exactly.
It is the craziest thing when you go from a small dryer to all that belt space. You know, the day that and our dryer wasn't even that small. I want to say it was like 36, or maybe more, like 40 something. It was a heat wave, which is a decent sized belt. But when the Sprint got there
And split belt.
and split belt got there, it felt like I had a toy before.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. You're like, this is crazy. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was like, what did I ordered the wrong dryer. It's just too big. Like something's wrong, but it was actually the right dryer. And now you look back and you're like, never, you know, like we have to have this.
Yeah, 100% for sure.
Yeah, no, for me, I mean, I was my introduction to this industry was an already all blue shop, but you know, was there for a long time and just saw the quality, you know, the reliability, the support, and you know, decided to always stick with it. So
I have a similar story to like JD. I always go back to that where I grew up in like the BMX world and skate world or whatever, where you get like the dance comp magazines and you're going through and you're like, oh, one day I'll be able to get this, and you circle all the items you want, kind of like a kid with like the Toys R Us catalog. And like for me, once I got into screen printing stuff, it was like Juxtapose magazine, where it was like Jack Prince was in the back and all these other places, and you're like, oh, one day I'll get that press. And it was like I started off with this bullshit you got on Craigslist or whatever, random presses, and then eventually it was like, I really want the Sidewinder manual, and then you get that, and then it's like, all right, I want the Sportsman, and you get that, and you're like, I want the Gauntlet, and then it's like, now you have this sea of blue shop, and you're like, yeah, I made it. So pretty stoked on it. Thanks guys for doing this with us.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
yeah,
Appreciate you.
thank you.
Thank you. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of your show.
You as well.